Hello, class. This is a presentation by Lori Hahn and Keisha Wilson on family systems theory. Family systems theory is based on the idea that the family is an intertwined, interacting system which is circular in nature. Every member responds to the perception of the other and is more than simply the individuals within a family. In much the same way that a house is built to protect a family, the house cannot be built with just one board or one nail. Family system theory did not hit mainstream until the 1960s after World War II. However, one of the first scientists to study and define family systems theory was Ernest Burgess in 1926. He presented a publication to the American Sociological Association that described the family as a unity of interacting personalities and was actually a living, growing superpersonality. He subscribed to the idea that there are two basic family types: the highly integrated, which is characterized by rituals, discipline, and interdependence, and the second, which is an unintegrated. It lacks these qualities and tends to identify one family member as the problem. Because of Burgess's theory, family therapists now consider the family as a whole as a source of dysfunction instead of singling out one single person. In the first slide, we talked about the family as being like a house or a structure where each member builds a portion of the interactions or the structure. A house is based on a foundation first, and there are 8 basic assumptions associated with family systems theory, which we will discuss in the next 2 slides. The first assumption is the idea that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. The second basically states that the problem does not necessarily lie within one single person, but is a system of dysfunction. When we see it this way, we can stop pointing fingers at one particular person and what they did and focus on how to resolve the problem. The third is that circular causality causes behavior. This means that we tend to repeat the same behavior in patterns that is comfortable to us. Family systems theory helps members to change the pattern of behavior that causes dysfunction. The fourth declares that rules define a family. Some family rules are explicit, such as curfew time, and some are unspoken, such as where dad sits at the head of the table. The fifth assumption of family systems theory is that feedback loops guide behavior. When we receive positive behavior or positive feedback for an action, we would tend to repeat it. Negative feedback occurs when we cross acceptable limits of family behavior. Positive feedback encourages a member to stay within the rules. Number 6 is the idea that unclear or confusing communication leads to problems within a family. For instance, when a daughter is asked what is wrong and she rolls her eyes and says nothing, she is beating around the bush. Other communication problems occur when an opposing verbal and nonverbal communication is sent. Number 7 is the fact that all family members take on roles through recurring behaviors. One role is the mover. This is the person that initiates action. The opposer is a person who blocks the mover's actions. And the last is the bystander, who is passive and aligns with both the mover and the opposer as to not create ripples. The last assumption is that families create boundaries. The open family is democratic and outsiders are permitted while still protecting family members. The closed family are very enmeshed and rarely invite outsiders into their circle. The random family has virtually no boundaries and sets few rules. Any house needs supporting columns, and there are 12 different concepts that support family systems theory. I will go over the first 6, and Keisha will present 7 through 12. The first concept is that the family is actually a social system. It has boundaries and has multiple subsystems, such as parent, spouse, or sibling. The second is that family boundaries distinguish a family from the environment. It keeps unwanted elements out that are contrary to family goals and invite in those that are seen as beneficial. Number 3 is hierarchy. This refers to the power within the family. In most families, the parents are the upper echelon and the children are the subsystem. The fourth is entropy, which is the natural tendency of a system to move from order to disorder. For instance, proper attention and communication. Without these, a marriage can move towards disorganization. Number 5 is family rules. As we discussed before, family rules are repetitive patterns of behavior. They can be explicit and discussed, or many times implicit, which means they are implied but not spoken. The last is feedback, is the response a family member makes to the behavior of another person. It can be positive or negative and tends to stay in a repetitive pattern. Enjoy this clip from A Christmas Story where we see some of the dysfunction in the family caused by behaviors of others. Implicitly, Mom is always expected to serve dinner and Dad sits at the head of the table, trying to ignore what's going on. Little brother has few rules because Mom just wants him to eat. Mom's positive feedback to him causes him to continue the behavior. Dad gets annoyed and falls back on threats, which is his circular pattern. Ralph tries to be passive and not create any more waves at the dinner table.
Every family has a kid who won't eat. My kid brother had not eaten voluntarily in over 3 years.
Oh, Randy, don't play with your food. Eat it.
Gee.
Starving people would be happy to have that.
Can I have some more red cabbage? You stop playing with your food or I'll give you something to cry about. You better stop fooling around with that and eat it or you'll be sorry.
Oh, can I please have some more?
My mother had not had a hot meal for herself in 15 years.
Meatloaf, double beetloaf. I hate meatloaf.
All right, I'll get that kid to eat. Where's my screwdriver and my plumber's helper? I'll open up his mouth and I'll shove it in.
Randy,
My mother was more subtle.
how do the little piggies go? That's right. Oink, oink. Now, show me how the piggies eat. This is your trough. Show me how the piggies eat. You're a good boy. Show Mommy how the piggies eat. Mommy's little piggy.
Some of the other primary concepts that were included in the book were equilibrium, which we've seen before, but basically that idea that the family wants to maintain homeostasis, that they don't like to change, or if they do change, they want to regain that balance and normality. The linear causality is the idea that there's a cause leading to an effect, and this is what the family systems theory was trying to overcome in looking at the problem rather than the person. So they want to focus on the what, not the why. And that's where the idea of circular causality comes from, that, for example, when the wife nags, the husband withdraws, and because the husband withdraws, the wife nags, and it goes in a circle. So they need to focus rather on the problem rather than the why of the problem. Another concept is that of the identified patient, which is the person in the family with the most problems. It's the one that they seek counseling for. They tend to carry the brunt of the family burdens. A double bind is the idea of where one person is giving two conflicting demands. So, for example, Heavenly Father had asked Adam and Eve to multiply and replenish the earth, but he had also asked them to not partake of the fruit. And in doing one command, they couldn't fulfill both commands. For example, in the family, If a mom is trying to teach a child how to tie his shoes, she can say, I'll help you, but you have to do it my way. And so that child is left to, if I don't do it mom's way, then I won't receive help. And vice versa, he can't fulfill both commands. The last idea is that of mutuality, where all family members are accepted for who they are. The Olson model, shown here in the picture, represents family cohesion and family flexibility in the way that they interact with one another. So there's disengaged, separated, connected, and enmeshed, and chaotic, flexible, structured, and rigid. So each family, depending on the situation, can spend time in each one of these, but they want to maintain their homeostasis in the normality of which one they are typically in. This video shows an example of a family that is very chaotic, but they also have some structure. So as you watch this clip, think about where the family would fit on that Olson model.